How to do smart property investment in the UK right now. Welcome to this site tour of our latest bank job. It's a conversion of a former bank building where we take the upper parts, convert them into residential use using permitted development rules. In this video, I'm going to take you through how we found this deal, how we negotiated this deal, how we have structured it so that there's no money left in, and most importantly, how you too can do deals like this up and down the country, so stay tuned. Hi, my name is Ranjan Bhattacharya. You may have seen me on the hit Sky TV show Property Elevator, or you may have attended one of our central London property investors networking meets, the Baker Street Property Meet. If you're new to this channel, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell icon so you get notified when we upload new content. Now, eagle-eyed regular viewers to this channel may find something about this video familiar. I was actually sitting on this very bench last year when I did a video which was titled What to Look For When You Go For Shops with Uppers. That had loads and loads of views, and in that video I walked up and down Rickmansworth High Street where I talked about shops and uppers, what you can do under permitted development rights, and what to go for and what not to go for. At that time I was very excited by this building, which was still trading as a bank branch. Now you can watch that video in full after you've seen this, because all those tips still apply. But in that video, I was very excited about this building, in particular because it's got a side entrance already there to access the upper floors. It's got a nice wide frontage for the shop, and it's got two clear open floor plate floors above for easy conversion into residential use. Now, as many of you know, I've been investing in commercial property for the last 20 years, doing commercial conversions since 2006, and training people to implement my commercial property investing strategies for the last decade. And on our commercial property training program, we teach people, we show people how to actually source decent commercial property deals all over the place. Now, the three main avenues for sourcing deals are property auctions, commercial agents, and direct to vendor. Now, about a year and a bit ago, we targeted this particular high street, and in that time, we've picked up 3 deals in this parade. One from auction, one from commercial agent, and this one is actually direct to vendor. Now, after shooting that video last year and walking by that bank branch and seeing what a good opportunity it was, it basically came on my radar. So I went to Land Registry to see who owns it, and found out it was owned by a private individual, and then sent them a series of letters. Now, literally 2 months after shooting that video, the bank actually closed that branch. So of course here we had a situation where a private individual had owned this particular bank building for more than 20 years, and they bought that for safe income. They thought that bank would be there forever. And now all of a sudden, the bank is packed up, and they're worried about, well, who the next tenant's going to be, what are they going to do with the space, and all of that sort of stuff. Now, the thing is, banks represent a unique opportunity in commercial property right now. See, banks are shutting down all over the place. This particular high street had every bank in it just 5 years ago. Today, only the Nationwide and Barclays are left. That's just 2. Now, way before 2030, my prediction is most of the high street banks will be all gone. And they represent an ideal opportunity for small-scale property investors and developers to take those properties and repurpose them. Bank buildings are usually well positioned on the high street, so the retail element can be easily repurposed to other commercial uses. And thanks to permitted development rules, it's quite easy to repurpose the upper parts into flats as well, without going through full convoluted planning permission. Now, the important thing is you need knowledge. You need to invest in the education to equip yourself with the knowledge to know exactly what to look for. There are shops up and down this high street. I'm not saying every one of them makes an ideal investment opportunity. You only want to pick propositions where there's at least a 30% margin in it, and you can structure the deal so that you can exit it with none of your own money left in the deal. Now, those 2 objectives are possible if you know specifically what to look for. Once you know what to look for, then you have to know how to target those sites, negotiate those deals, structure the offer, execute them, and come out the other end with your objectives. So I've got the keys right here. Let's go inside and take a look. So here it is. We've got a bank building, ground floor, retail bank area, upstairs, a couple of floors, which were formerly used as offices and staff toilets and stuff like that. And I'll show you around that. Now, there are lots of things I love about this bank building, and I'll tell you about throughout this video. But before I tell you about that, let's have a look around at the banking hall itself. So we're here at the back of the bank here, and above this concrete whatever it is, this is where the vaults were, where they'd store the cash and all of that sort of stuff. And what they would do is, because it's on the ground floor, they would make sure it's away from the exterior walls. They'd put it on a raised platform so that basically no one could tunnel through or put a JCB through it very, very easily. And look at this, folks. If you wanted to raid this bank with sawn-off shotgun or anything like that, these aren't normal partitions. This is solid steel stuff, which is actually quite heavy to lift. Serious bulletproof stuff there. Now, when you want to convert a commercial building to residential use, you've got to think about the power. Because if you're going to make multiple flats, each flat needs its own power supply and all of that sort of stuff. Now, with a lot of commercial buildings, sometimes it makes that very, very easy for you. So we're very, very lucky here. I mean, this is a wowzer, really. We've got 2 3-phase supplies in here. We could power loads of flats out of this. So there's no problem with getting basically enough power is here in the building to supply this shop and also 2 flats above with ease. The other thing I love about bank buildings is that they come with a lot of stuff built into the fabric of the building, such as air conditioners, the cameras, the fire alarms, the cooling systems, ventilation systems, all sorts of stuff is here, security systems. That means you've got to investigate capital allowances, because effective utilization of capital allowances will save you a lot of tax. That's something we cover on our commercial property training, and that actually makes deals very, very sweet indeed. So this is a side passage, folks, the door from the street that leads straight upstairs. There's also an internal door that goes to the shop. So it's very, very well positioned to take advantage of the various permitted development rules for conversion of the upper spaces to residential use. So the first floor here is all offices, which is nice, of course. Plenty of air conditioning up here, which also helps with those capital allowances things I was telling you about. Remember, when you want to convert into flats, each flat has to be a minimum of 37 square meters, which we've got. Our flats are going to be a little over 40 square meters on each floor. We've got to do a little bit of jiggery-pokery with the staircases, because they're all in a little bit of an odd place right now, but once we've done that, it should be okay. Now we're on the second floor now, and basically this entire floor was used as staff area. You've got a staff kitchen, little staff room, and we've got toilets and stuff like that. Now the thing about this floor, it's a little bit height challenged. I mean, I shouldn't be able to touch the ceiling there. It's probably about 2.1 meters, which is okay, but it's not great. It doesn't give you the feeling of space. Now, I think when a lot of people may have seen this property, they were slightly put off. Firstly, because of the staircase situation and this ceiling situation, which meant that a lot of people would have thought they could only get 1 maisonette out of this building. But we've had this building checked out. It's going to be quite easy to raise this ceiling and go into the loft a little bit to deal with that issue. And by relocating the staircase, we suddenly end up with a situation where we've got 2 flats which are over the minimum space standard thresholds. So we get those 2 1-bedroom flats above the shop. That's the bank tour, folks. But what do you guys need to know to do deals like this? One of the first things you've got to know is your permitted development rules inside out. Permitted development allows you to do simple repurposing of either commercial buildings to other commercial uses, or commercial buildings to residential use, or a mixed use kind of conversion, but it tells you what you can and can't do without having to ask anyone for long, complicated and uncertain planning permission. You don't want to go down the planning route. Permitted development is simple as long as you know the rules inside out. Once you know the permitted development rules inside out, you need to translate that into a requirements list. A requirements list is basically your shopping list of attributes that you're looking for in a commercial property building that you're looking to purchase. Because even down this high street, not every commercial building will be a prime candidate for conversion. And the last thing you want to do is waste your time on stuff that isn't profitable. You see, permitted development rules are an amazing enabler. Since August 2021, when the new permitted development rules came in, you can now do a hell of a lot more with more commercial building types than you could ever do without having to go through convoluted planning permission. But just because you can do something, just because you can easily reconvert a property to residential use, it doesn't necessarily mean you should. And that's where knowledge comes in. Knowledge of the PD rules, knowledge of what makes the best commercial conversion candidates, and also how to actually determine that through figures. The beauty of a commercial to residential conversion deal is all in the spreadsheet, it's all in the numbers. If you can accurately predict the outcome of a deal from a numbers point of view, then you have certainty. You have certainty that you'll be able to do what you want to do because the permitted development rules allow you, and you'll have certainty from having confidence in the way that you've modeled the financial projections of the deal itself. Then you need to negotiate the deal. Now, when you deal with owners of commercial property, you tend to find that they're far more commercially minded. They're often business owners and a little bit more entrepreneurial. No one owns a commercial property to live in. They usually own it for a commercial purpose. So you find that when you're dealing with commercial vendors, there's less emotion involved than when you deal with residential homeowners. And that means that it's a prime area for coming up with creative deal structures which give you sort of win-win opportunities. Now, the thing you need to know is what kind of deal negotiation tactics you can employ in different scenarios. And these can be things like delayed completions, conditional exchanges, subject to offers, lease options, option agreements, and the like. In this particular building, the bank was the tenant, and their lease has 2.5 years left to run, but they wanted out of it. So this particular negotiation was a three-way negotiation between us as buyers, the sellers, and also the bank. The bank basically paid a sum of money to surrender the lease, to exit their obligations from the lease, which basically allowed us to buy the property with vacant possession. And the three-way nature of that deal allowed everyone to win. Bank gets out of the lease, vendor gets more money, we end up buying the property, having to put up less cash ourselves, a win-win kind of way. But you've got to know all the possibilities for negotiating these type of win-win offers, and that's where knowledge is key. And of course, then you've got to execute the deal, deliver the deal, know how to convert these buildings into residential units and basically exit from the deal. Now, I'm a big fan of keeping these properties at the end of the process rather than selling them, because if you've got 30% margin in the deal, then you can usually refinance the buildings at the end on commercial loans, which allow you to retain the whole asset and produce positive cash flow. Now, these types of deals are what we do in our business day in, day out. This is what I've been teaching my students to do for over a decade. We have the UK's #1 commercial property 8-week course where I teach people all my strategies for investing and developing and repurposing commercial properties. If you want to find out more and enroll on this 8-week course and start your commercial property journey, I'll leave a link here and in the description below. If you want to join me on one of my taster sessions, I regularly run taster sessions where I do a 90-minute masterclass taking you through some of our current deals to give you a little bit of a flavor of what the course is about. Then you can sign up for one of those free taster sessions as well. Now, let me know what you think of this deal in the comments below. Also, if you want to keep up to date with progress on this deal, which we'll be putting out there in the months to come, then make sure you subscribe, hit the bell icon so we keep you notified regularly. That's it for this video. Bye for now. High streets across the land are changing forever. Basically, there's an oversupply of retail premises. Shops are closing down, more are going to close down in the future. The government know this, and that's why they're introducing a light touch planning system which allows small developers to easily repurpose these buildings to residential use under a light touch planning regime called permitted development. Now, this is going to be the biggest revolution and the biggest change and the biggest opportunity for property investors that I've ever seen. And this is all coming into effect on 1st of August. So you need to know what's happening and what properties to look for to take advantage of these opportunities so that you can get in there and take that first mover advantage. I've got a 90-minute free masterclass to get you ready for August the 1st. Make sure you join me, click the link below. Whether you're a beginner or expert, we'll get you started.